Hello everyone and welcome back. We're going to continue our study of the Book of Concord today by finishing the First Commandment in the Large Catechism. My name is Pastor Jacob Swenson. I am the pastor of St. John Lutheran Church and Trinity Lutheran Church in Hillsboro and Hope, North Dakota. We welcome you back, and especially if this is your first time listening. We've been walking our way through the Book of Concord a little bit at a time, usually about 10 minutes or so a day. But I must apologize. Our last session, I ended us a little bit early. So today is going to be a little bit longer. If you're following along, I'm reading from Concordia, the Lutheran Confessions, which is a newer edition of the Book of Concord available from Concordia Publishing House. So if you go cph.org/Concordia, you can pick up a hard copy of this for about $20, or on Amazon. You can purchase it from them if you have Amazon Prime. You can have it in 2 days. If that is not an option for you, go to book-of-concord.org, and you can find everything in an older edition, but you'll still be able to follow along. Today we're going to finish the First Commandment in the Large Catechism. We're going to begin in paragraph 27. Luther has just stated that all good things come from God through channels. So all the good things that we receive from our parents, from our farmers, from our government, actually and ultimately come from God. Paragraph 27. So no one should expect to take or give anything except what God has commanded. Then it may be acknowledged as God's gift, and thanks may be rendered to him for it, as this commandment requires. For this reason also, the ways we receive good gifts through creatures are not to be rejected, nor should we arrogantly seek other ways and means than what God has commanded, for that would not be receiving from God, but seeking for ourselves. Let everyone then see to it that he values this commandment great and high above all things. Do not regard it as a joke. Ask and examine your heart diligently, and you will find out whether it clings to God alone or not. If you have a heart that can expect of him nothing but what is good, especially in need and distress, and a heart that also renounces and forsakes everything that is not God, then you have the only true God. If, on the contrary, your heart clings to anything else from which it expects more good and help than from God, and if your heart does not take refuge in him but flees from him when in trouble, then you have an idol, another God. God will not have this commandment thrown to the winds. He will most strictly enforce it. In order that this may be known, he has added A, a terrible threat, and B, a beautiful, comforting promise. This promise is also to be taught and impressed upon young people, that they may take it to heart and uphold it. Here follows an explanation of the appendix to the First Commandment. This is a scriptural citation. I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers on the children to the third and fourth generation of those who hate me, but showing steadfast love to the thousands of those who love me and keep my commandments. Exodus 20. Luther writes, these words relate to all the commandments, as we shall learn later, but they are joined to this chief commandment because it is most important that people get their thinking straight first. For where the head is right, the whole life must be right, and vice versa. Learn therefore from these words how angry God is with those who trust in anything but him. And again, learn how good and gracious he is to those who trust and believe in him alone with their whole heart. His anger does not stop until the fourth generation of those who hate him. He says this so you will not live in such security and commit yourself to chance, like people with brute hearts who thinks that it makes no great difference how they live. On the other hand, His blessing and goodness reach many thousands. He is a God who will not overlook that people turn from him. He will not stop being angry until the fourth generation, even until they are utterly exterminated. Therefore, he is to be feared and not to be despised. He has also made this known in all history, as the Scriptures abundantly show and daily experience still teaches. For from the beginning he has utterly uprooted all idolatry. Because of idolatry, he has uprooted both heathen people and Jewish people. To this day he overthrows all false worship, so that all who remain therein must finally perish. Proud, powerful, and rich men of the world, who surpass even the Persians in wealth, are still to be found. They boast defiantly of their mammon. They utterly disregard whether God is angry at them or smiles on them. They dare to withstand his wrath, yet they shall not succeed. Before they are aware of it, they shall be wrecked, with all in which they trusted. All others have perished like this, who have thought themselves more secure or powerful. Such hard heads imagine that God overlooks and allows them to rest in security, or that he is entirely ignorant or cares nothing about such matters. Therefore God must deal in a smashing blow and punish them, so that he cannot forget their sin unto their children's children. In that way, everyone may take note and see that this is no joke to him. These are the people he means when he says, "Those who hate me," i.e., those who persist in their defiance and pride. Whatever is preached or said to them, they will not listen. When they are rebuked, in order that they may learn to know themselves and make amends before the punishment begins, they become mad and foolish. They rightly deserve wrath, as we see daily in bishops and princes now. But as terrible as these threatenings are, so much more powerful is the consolation and the promise. For those who cling to God alone should be sure that he will show them mercy. In other words, he will show them pure goodness and blessing, not only for themselves, but also to their children and their children's children, even to the 1,000th generation and beyond that. This ought certainly to move and impel us to risk our hearts in all confidence with God, if we wish all temporal and eternal good. For the Supreme Majesty makes such outstanding offers and presents such heartfelt encouragements and such rich promises. Therefore, let everyone seriously take this passage to heart, lest it be regarded as though a man had spoken it. For you it is a question of eternal blessing, happiness, and salvation, or of eternal wrath, misery, and woe. What more would you have or desire than God so kindly promising to be yours with every blessing and to protect and help you in all need? But unfortunately, here is the failure. The world believes none of this, nor regards it as God's word. For the world sees that those who trust in God and not in mammon suffer care and want, and that the devil opposes and resists them. They don't have money or favor or honor, and besides can scarcely support life. On the other hand, those who serve mammon have power, favor, honor, possessions, and every comfort in the eyes of the world. For this reason, these words must be understood to speak against the appearance of such things, and we must consider that they do not lie or deceive, but must come true. So here, hidden in these words, is the theology of the cross. Right? Things are not always what they seem. See, the world has problems with Christianity because it sees Christians who suffer want and scarcity and says, well, why would I want to be a Christian when I can be as I desire and have all wealth and possessions and happiness? But Luther says, God's word must remain true. Paragraph 43. Reflect for yourself, or investigate and tell me. Those who have used all their care and diligence to gather great possessions and wealth, what have they finally gained? You will find that they have wasted their toil and labor, or even though they have amassed great treasures, they have been dispersed and scattered. So they themselves have never found happiness in their wealth, and afterward it never reached the third generation. You will find plenty of examples in all histories, also in the memory of the aged and experienced people. Just watch and ponder them. Saul was a great king, chosen by God, and a godly man. But when he was established on his throne, he let his heart wander from God and put his trust in his crown and power. Then he had to perish with all he had, so that not even his children remained. David, on the other hand, was a poor, despised man, hunted down and chased, so that he did not feel his life was secure anywhere. Yet he had to survive in spite of Saul and become king. For these words of the promise had to abide and come true, since God cannot lie or deceive. Just let not the devil and the world deceive you with their show, which indeed remains for a time, but finally is nothing. Right? So the devil promises riches and wealth, and they can deceive us for a time, but only for a time. Paragraph 47. Let us then learn well the first commandment, that we may see how God will tolerate no overconfidence, nor any trust in any other object. We will see how he requires nothing greater from us than confidence from the heart for everything good. Then we may live right and straightforward and use all the blessings that God gives, just as a shoemaker uses his needle, awl, and thread for work and then lays them aside. Or we may behave like a traveler, using an inn, food, and bed only to meet his present need. Each person may do this in his calling according to God's order, and without allowing any of these things to be his lord or idol. This is enough about the first commandment, which we have had to explain at length, since it is of chief importance. For as said earlier, where the heart is rightly set toward God, and this commandment is observed, all the other commandments follow. Here ends Luther's explanation of the first commandment in the Large Catechism. Next time we will begin with the second commandment, you shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain.